Hello and welcome to the Tea and Trails podcast. As Gary always says, thanks for dropping by. We appreciate it. And we also appreciate Phoenix Light for sponsoring this week's interview. The best design comes from the actual needs of users. And Gary, the clocks have gone. They've turned on us. And my goodness, we need this. I'm going to start having to charge head torches. I could go about 3 weeks on not charging a head torch because I'd only have it on for about 15 minutes. It's the full run now, Gary, though I did turn it off for a little bit of Darkwoods experience because I think it's important.
Oh, no way.
No, never.
No way.
I like hearing, I turn everything off and it's just me, the pheasants, the deers. Bloody dog, stop pulling. I'm just going this way. Phoenix takes providing mobile lighting products with excellent performance as their goal and born for harsh environments. As its mission, never forget where you started and your mission can be accomplished. And this is the head torch you ask us. At least once a week, we get an email or a Facebook message of what the head torch is. Here it is. And it's hard to remember, but it's a HM65R TV2. That's the one we both use for both racing and training. It's got the warm light, it's got the head torch beam, and it's got the saving grace as well. No one will forget when I went out without any charge, but I had tiny, if your battery goes, it does give you just enough light that you can see where your feet are going. So if you are looking for a head torch, if you're looking for perhaps writing it on your Christmas list and sending it up the chimney to Santa.
What a stocking filler that would be.
Well, yeah, well, I don't know if Santa is in contact with Phoenix, but the elves must have a direct line. And
all the lumens and the battery life. And this was my Lakeland 100 head torch of choice. So you're looking at, wow, what time? About 10 o'clock at night, dark. And about 6 maybe in the morning. It served me well. I did leech off other people's light a few times.
You leech off everything off. They would not be surprised. If you were running, Northern Traverse, if we end up any of that together, I'm turning my head torch off.
Oh.
I'm going, come on. Both turn them full beam. We're running together. We'll be like invincible. And then we shine, if there's any competitors, we'll shine it in their eyes.
See us from the space station, Eddie. I always forget though, when you go into a checkpoint and you poor etiquette, you're blind in the marshals.
You'll have to remember it if you win, Gary, and you fit for your finish line photos that you turn it off as well, so you don't.
I visualize myself winning. Is that
absolutely
crazy?
No? You got to. You're there. I can see you. Course record beating time and winning.
That comment will come back to bite me on the bum as I'm DNFing in Lordstones.
No, there'll be no chance. Robin will probably be volunteering there again. She'll be like, she'll let you in.
Not let me
just
stop,
shut the tent.
Nothing to see.
And put out the cup with your tea in and go, keep going. I'll just put it down on that rock. I'll pick it up. We've got a delicious chat for you this week. We have a meeting of minds. Gary, you chose not to join us for this one.
Well,
there are a lot of
like you didn't want me there, to be honest.
To be honest, it was a lot of fun because it felt like when you got a substitute teacher with Trish, and we had Gary slapping the wrists and leading the charge with proper important questions. So if you guys go, this talk is a little wild and off script. That is why, because Gary, you were busy, and so I took the reins, and so of course it was totally chaos without you there. Well, we did miss you. You were mentioned very fondly, but we're also excited because we felt like we'd been allowed to be a bit wild.
The reins were loose.
The reins were loose. So we caught up with Lucy Gossage after her incredible Southwest Coast Path record-breaking self-supported FKT, and we asked Trish along as well because she is just about to attempt an exciting FKT of herself. We talk a lot about the challenge and how Lucy planned for it and how it went, and then we also sort of dive into how Trish is training for her big challenge and also how you can get involved and perhaps think about planning your own FKT, why we should do FKTs, all sorts of chat like that. I really enjoyed it. I don't think Lucy's had enough respect for what she did, which was absolutely incredible. She's sort of flown a little bit under the radar, but I kind of think that was the adventure that she wanted as well. She was doing it for no other reason than to set herself something that scared her and to see that if she could do it, and she did that and she ticked that box. And I think it was a lot harder than she'd planned. And she sort of ticked the box and is happy to I don't need a lot of accolades for this. I just know. And as we said, now I'm terrified to run with her because she sees 50 miles as a new 5K every day.
I enjoyed it. Obviously not being part of it. Not my usual experience when I'm editing a podcast. Yeah, I actually enjoyed it. So I hope you do too. It was funny. Trish, what did she say? Fresh pants, no bants. Incredible.
She's brilliant. Settle in, press go, fold that laundry, shut that car door. What else might people be doing when they listen to the podcast, Gary? Ooh, dread to think. Jason said to me today, the only time I listen to podcasts is when I want to go to sleep.
That is not the 5-star review I want to see.
I don't know. Do you not have stuff that you like? He's like, just because I know you both, I find it very settling and calming just listening to your twittering.
But would you just not forget something? You might have a little nugget that you forgot.
I don't think people are pulling nuggets out of our chats, Gary. They're just like...
I'm just throwing them out every week.
What Eddie's going to say next.
Our guests hopefully have some nuggets.
They definitely do. Here's our chat with Lucy and Trish. Let's start because we can just chat. I've got like a list of questions to give it a little bit of structure, but we can just chat as we are now. But I just need to do the intro. And then, Trish, if you have to go when we haven't finished, we'll just talk about you.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like, yeah, we're not bothered.
Yeah. You're just our average friend.
Just average. You just bring average chat anyway. So
Let me read your intro. Welcome to the Tea and Trails. I should say I looked this up on AI. You see, Gary's not here. We've all gone to pot. This is going to be... This is either going to work or Gary's going to cut it and say, I can't put that out. Well, I'll put your name into AI, Lucy, but I asked it some probing questions.
Oh my God.
No, I didn't really. It's lovely. So welcome, it says to here, welcome to, insert your podcast name. Welcome to the Tea and Trails podcast, the show where passion, I'll just leave it there, where passion meets purpose and we dive deep into the lives of people who redefine what's possible. Today's guest is a true force of nature. She's a former professional Ironman triathlete, a multi-time champion who's conquered some of the toughest endurance races on the planet. But that was just one chapter. Now she's back. She's back in the hospital, not as a patient, but as an oncologist, bringing the same grit, compassion and fire from the racecourse into cancer care. Dr. Lucy Gossage isn't just an athlete or a doctor. Oh, no. She's a storyteller, a motivator, and someone who lives life fully and fearlessly, whether it's racing across finish lines or helping others face life's biggest challenges. Lucy does it all with heart. So buckle up. I haven't finished. It's always quite threatening, AI, with like, you better listen, buckle up. Or it normally says lean in, buckle up. You're about to hear from someone who doesn't just talk about resilience. She lives it.
Is resilient. Yes.
Do you want me to? I'll get Gary to send that to you. And if you're feeling like a bit sad, you can just be like, she doesn't just talk about resilience.
She lives it.
Yeah, remember that. When we're in the point to points, I am the motivator of the group. You guys have been demoted.
This is perhaps more suitable to have on your mug. Maybe we could pull out, I don't just talk about resilience, I live it. And we could send that to the person who complained about.
I don't think that would go down very well with patients either.
Just your face and like...
They'd be like, you don't know the meaning, you're off for your lovely jog. We are so lucky to be joined by not one, but two legends of our sport, Lucy and Brew with the Coaches, Trish. Brew with the Coaches, Trish, this won't go out on the podcast.
Like my intro isn't going to be as hot as Lucy's.
Here's Trish. Trish. That's real time. Trish, but we can edit this bit out, but are we going to talk about your dragon's back, or is that top secret?
No, it's not secret at all. I'm quite happy about it. So
can I'll mention it now and say
this is why she's here.
No, we bring the bants. She's bringing the bants. We're super excited today to be joined by Lucy to talk about her incredible Southwest Coast Path FKT. But I also invited along to the party, not just for the good times and the bants, but our Brew with the Coaches, Trish, because she is about to embark on a really exciting adventure too. So I thought I would, because Lucy doesn't really speak to Trish outside the WhatsApp. So I thought if I brought them together, then Trish could like ask Lucy some questions and not be shy.
Just an average friend and training.
I wasn't going to say it. It came up really early in the podcast. Trish, do you want to share a little bit about what you are going to be doing?
In December, I will be doing a winter FKT on the Dragon's Back route. And the plan is to do it solo supported. So therefore, I will be carrying all my own gear and on my own on the hill, but I will have access to vehicle support when I need it. The reason I've done it that way is because there's a number of reasons. It primarily comes down to logistics and the route on the Dragon's Back race. There aren't many options for accommodation there, i.e. only a couple. It makes it quite difficult trying to run a fairly fast time because inevitably you go through those locations like in the middle of the day based on the schedule that you're running. So this was a good middle ground to have a decent crack at it, but also to kind of capture, I think, just, you know, the rawness of what the Dragon's Back is, which is sort of, I want it to be as much of a self-supported effort as possible and to be all by myself.
There's no winter record. So does Shane hold the supported FKT at the moment?
Yes, so Shane's got it at the moment. It's 102 hours. We've actually just done my schedule. I say we, Shane, because I'm not particularly interested in numbers.
Are you trying to go quicker than Shane?
So the schedule is just under Shane's. I mean, obviously they're very different things. So there's a big difference between doing it obviously in winter and summer. And I've got no idea how that will work out, to be honest. You know, I think it's worth having a go and having that as a framework to go to. You know, we should be trying to push to do something hard. And I think that if that encourages me to get the best possible time I can, then that's a good thing. If I don't hit that time, it doesn't matter.
Well, you will be removed from the WhatsApp group, but we set up another one. Just being titled like Loserville. That's quite a good thing to have that time, because it was one of the questions I was going to ask you, Lucy. So for people, if you jumped on and you thought, what is this chaotic podcast? Just bear with us. But Lucy has just completed the self-supported FKT of the Southwest Coast Pass, which is, now I'd like to know your final stats on this, but the sort of official stats are 630 miles, 35,000 feet.
Meters?
35,000 feet.
I was like,
I did actually add this up. I know it was over 40,000 meters, and it was, I think without the ferries, it was about 640 something. So I didn't do that much extra, but the elevation was a bit extra. But yeah, it was definitely over 40,000 meters. Big difference.
Yeah. Meters, feet, whatever. It was a long way and it was really hilly. So the first thing I want to do, and I thought this might help Trish as well, was talk about like not just your inspiration, but the sort of planning that goes into it. And I wondered if the fact that Sarah Perry had set the record before gave you a little bit of the fire and a little bit of like, well, I've got some numbers there to play with. And so I have a target. Surely that then helps a lot, not only with the planning, but also then you've got something, even though it's not a person you're racing against, but something to beat. It's very hard to go into these things without a number or a figure.
Yeah, I definitely think it's hardest being the first person. The challenge with doing it self-supported is finding accommodation. Well, the first thing was, how far can I do each day? And I asked you, Trish, I was like, well, what do you think I should go for? Do you think I should go for 50? And you guys all came back and like, I think you could probably do 50. And I was actually doing a bit more. And I was like, oh, I'm not actually going to tell them that because they might say it's not. Working out roughly how far you think you can do. Then with the coast path, there's all the ferries. So actually timing.
Was there 14? Is there 14 ferries? Or did you lose count?
Like that. And then a couple of maybe more than that even, and a couple of tidal crossings. So there were 2 days that had 5 or 6 each some of them are only running from like 10 till 12 and 2 till 4. So it's like, it's a really tight window.
Proper boating holiday, that day.
But then,
did you do any running at all? Where did you get this 40,000 meters from?
Yes, well, she counted the ferries. The ferry miles were what, 600 miles?
You counted the waves. You counted the waves.
And the waves.
Well, that day.
But yeah, so you can work out roughly, but then you've got to fit it in with the accommodation. So it's like a jigsaw puzzle. So Sarah, like doing it was a massive part of the inspiration, and listening to her on this podcast talking about it. And I'd spoken to her and she knew I was going to do it. I had a chat. But actually on the FKT site, there's no details of where she stayed or files. So I was like, I would really like to see like how long it took her to do each section. I did look at the guys who'd done it supported. Obviously Dan did it. And maybe a bit arrogantly, but I thought, well, Damien Hall back in 2015 was maybe not as good as he is now. So maybe I can do like similar times when you're a bit tired. No, but I kind of was like, okay, so basically the supported one was a day quicker than I did. So I was like, well, I'm not trying to do something ridiculous and say, well, I'm going to be as quick as everyone that's done it supported, but I'm also pushing. I wanted something.
I'm backing. You backed yourself.
No, I didn't. I wanted a bit like Tristan. I wanted something at the edge of possibility. possibility. I didn't want to like.
There's the mug quote. Live on the edge of possibility.
No, but I did, because I could have just said, right, I just want to knock a day off Sarah's time, and I would have been much more confident that I could do that, because that would have taken out the big days. It would have just made everything more comfortable. But I just felt I'd rather get something on the edge. That's something that might be possible, but that there's a lot of room for it not to be possible. But that's what I kind of set it up. But it was a massive jigsaw.
I like living with the like barely manageable. Like it's just manageable, but it's barely manageable. Everything. That's how I live my life.
But I didn't know that it was manageable. So, because I've never, like, I've obviously done 50, because you think about the spine and you think, well, I ran a lot further than that for 3 days, but then you're broken. And then you think, well, we do these point to points and we do 40 miles. I was very confident I could pull together 40-mile days for 12 days or whatever. Not very confident, but that's comfortable. When I've never done like I think my first days was 63, 58. Like I've never done that. So that was one of my biggest worries, actually, that those 2 days would break me.
Then you'd go silent and you'd be like, the tracker would be on a train.
I got to the stage, like one day I looked at the next day, I was like, oh, it's only 50 miles. That's easy.
Lucy, we had a private WhatsApp going away from you, and we were all like, we can never run with Lucy again, because we used to think big days were like something with 30 starting, and now you're going to be like, guys, there's no point us doing less than 100k today.
I'm not even bothering. I'm not getting
Not even bothering. Oh, I'll start early. I'll do 30 then and then join you. You alluded then about how hard the planning was. Tell us a little bit about the parcels, because they made me laugh so much.
I sent myself little presents every day, every single day, including the first night. I sent myself a parcel.
So how did you do this? Did you write to the Airbnb people and say, I'm not crazy, I'm just sending you a parcel?
I gave them no warning. I just sent myself a parcel and said, I think 1 or 2 I get. Because remember, like some of them I'm not staying there for 2 weeks. Like I sent them the Wednesday before I left, and I'm not going to be there for 2 weeks. But I just said FAO, Lucy Gossage, staying the night of whatever. I sent myself parcels. So
were they all there then? Did they all turn up?
Every day, yeah. And then this is the bit I was really proud of. And there's so many things that could have gone wrong, but I'd organised Royal Mail collections. So for 30 pence, you can get your parcel collected. So then I could post back any like dirty kits or stuff like that.
What is the postman coming out on the coast path? Because you're like, I need you to be on the coast path at this time. Because
I just left them at the front of the hotel.
Like following you around, picking up his like...
It's her again. Oh my God. This one's really bad.
Anyway, they all got collected and sent back to Mum, who then delivered these unopened parcels. I was like, oh my God, this is no.
I was just reminiscing of when I did Kona, Lucy, and I weed on my bike, obviously, down my bike shoes, and we shut the bike box up, and then I didn't ride my bike for like 2 weeks, and so I didn't unpack my bike.
Fresh.
And I opened my bike, but oh my God. So you left them at the hotel, and this is incredible. So tell me what was in not the parcels you got collected, but the parcels that you sent to yourself. With the little notes going, you're a tough girl.
So
you could do this.
I did think about making myself a little notes. I didn't.
Trish is totally going to do that. Look in the mirror. Be proud.
But it was a stress. I mean, this is a stress, like organising all this out. I knew breakfast wasn't going to be an issue, so I didn't want to be faffing around trying to get Rice Krispies from the hotel. So Robin had given me this recipe for porridge, raisin porridge.
Raisin porridge.
Robin needs some spelling lessons. But
you'll be listening to this.
Oh no, she'll be
dying.
She spelt it wrong. We all.
So Robin had made me these amazing. So it's really anyway, like basically porridge that you can just add water. Is it good?
Okay.
We should share the recipe.
We'll share the recipe on the show notes.
And also, what a top friend day. She made
guys. I don't think we need Gary. I think we're doing much better without Gary.
Gary, we just need to tell Gary what to do in the show notes. We just need to direct him a little bit. Anyway,
right, so you had the porridge,
So porridge in like things that I could eat it out of. Protein shake, this horrible greens powder, because I knew it was disgusting, but I just thought I'm not going to eat any veg because it's so long. I was like, what can I do? Randomly, actually some beetroot shots, because again, I was like, veg, a bit of antioxidant.
Yeah. This is the worst parcel ever.
Little sachets of like chamois cream and all of that. Basically, I didn't want to carry around like big pots of everything for 12 days because you need a big pot of shampoo. So little made up, anything that I was going to be using each day.
Toothbrush, didn't you put toothbrushes in?
Yeah, toothbrush. Well, little sachets of toothpaste. Yeah, and then food for the day so that I didn't have to kind of, try and remember 3 hours out from the evening, or I need to find a shop to get food for the next day. So I think something like 3,000 calories of whatever. So they were quite a bit, and then spare kit. So like new socks every day and some t-shirts occasionally and things like that. And then halfway I'd got a whole kit change with new shoes and everything.
How long did you wear the same shorts for?
3 days, but I did have underwear.
Fresh pants.
Fresh pants. Yeah, fresh pants.
Fresh pants, no bants.
But I think if I did it again, I sent way too much food. That was just, way too much food. I'd send more sports stuff and less bars and things. I would send socks. I'm not sure. I probably sent too many t-shirts. You probably don't really need to change them. It was so easy. And just knowing that you got there. And there were a couple of nights I sent expedition meals as well, because I thought I might miss dinner if everywhere was shut. But just knowing that you had your food, you had your breakfast, you had your protein shake. If everything else went tits up, you had everything you need. I think that was really good. And it did mean I had to carry less, although I ended up carrying all this clothes I didn't use, but that's fine.
Tell us a bit about what your daily routine looked like, because you didn't have a lot of time to reply to my WhatsApps and messages and stuff. You seem to be very busy.
You guys were literally, I think lots of friends sent me messages and stuff, but there's something about having friends.
Well, we're your favourite, right? It's okay. You can say it. No,
but you get it. You get it. And there was one day where I didn't believe, and you guys gave me the belief. Or I didn't show you pictures of my toe, actually, when I didn't really want to show you the true grimness of it, because I thought you'd send me some messages back going, oh, that's actually really bad.
When you said you'd put Compeed on it, and I think we all were in our separate WhatsApp group, what idiot puts Compeed on a blister when they're running? And I think it was Zoe who had no filter to go, what?
I was just amazed, mate, because literally you've done so much endurance stuff.
I don't get blisters.
You've done so much endurance stuff. And at this point, at this stage in your life and career, you're still putting Compeed on.
I ordered more to go on. I did an Amazon emergency delivery to them.
Yeah, you told me that. And I was like, I'm going to have to try and cancel the hacking. I'm going to get a teenage boy to hack in. And
who is this amateur?
Oh, it's so bad. It's such a bad mistake.
Let's go back and talk about your routine, and then we'll talk about the one bit of pain you had for the whole.
And it wasn't really pain. I don't feel pain.
Oh my God. Even Trish, who's going to have a van support, when you get to that van, you're going to have to be like, this is what I need to do. There's no room for faff, as much as we all love a bit of faff. There's no I think the spine is a great, you can bleed hours at a checkpoint just staring at your bag and being like.
You can bleed out at a checkpoint.
You can just bleed out as well. I mean, if you really don't want to go on. But also there's normally someone, when you do races like the Spine or Northern First, there is normally a volunteer hovering going, you need to keep what you're doing. Whereas when you're by yourself, I've seen you, Lucy. I've shared hotel rooms with you where I've gone to have a shower and I've come back and you're still just sitting there going, I just been staring at the wall in my pants. I'm so happy. But tell us about what your day looked like and how did you minimize the fuss? Because you've got to get as much sleep as you can, haven't you?
I don't think I'd really appreciated that until I finished. It was super intense. Yeah, because there's no, even though you've got all this time on your own, all this time with no one to talk to, there's actually no time where you're just down. Other than there were a couple of hours where I was waiting for ferries. But even then you're kind of stressed about is a ferry coming?
Your cortisol must be...
Yeah, so I'd wake up and it took me, as soon as the feet were an issue, it actually took me an hour. I genuinely wasn't faffing. It took me an hour to get out the hotel, to do my feet, to eat the breakfast, pack everything up, unplug everything. Just all of that. There was a lot of faffing.
Just sorting stuff out. Yeah. And preparing, just doing your feet takes time, doesn't it?
It takes time. So I'd be out within an hour. That was the absolute deadline. And then you're on the go, and I'd stop. But you have to stop quite a lot to fill out your bottles, and you have to stop. But I was always
What time of day did you start?
I try and only stop once properly, but it was probably only for 20 minutes. I'd really try.
No, what time of day did you start?
It depended where the stops were. Where it depended a little bit, but I try not to stop until halfway.
No. What time of day did you start? Talking to my mum and dad.
What time did you get up and go, Liz?
What time did you stop halfway?
Not interested in that.
Oh,
3 times.
The earliest was 4:45, and the latest was 5:45 because there was a ferry that I couldn't get any earlier. And most days it was about between 5 and 20 past 5. I planned it though. I'd plan what time I needed to start depending on how long I thought it would take. And I got to the hotels, bar the last day, which was super long. Every other day I was between 6:30 and like 8:15. What I hadn't realised is that you're just always concentrating. So you get to a cafe and there's no like sit down, relax, you're like, right, I need to get the quickest thing off the menu. I need to eat it. But in the meantime, what else do I need to do? Okay, I need to do my water bottles. I need to do my feet. I need to do this. And or I need to look at where the next thing is, or check the ferry time, or phone this ferry and check they're running. And so there was so much like admin. Then you get to wherever you're staying, and like I was really mindful. The more sleep I got, the easier it would be. So but you get there and you're like, right, I've got to get food. So where am I going to? And I'd worked out what the options were. I mean, you still got to get it. And you're like, I remember going to a chip shop. I was like, what's the quickest thing to do? So the only downtime really was when you're waiting for your food because you can't do anything else, and then you eat the food, and then you go to sort everything out for the next day and go to bed. There was a couple of nights where I was like, I would love to just lie and scroll on my phone, and I think I had a bath the first night, and I like looking at my phone for about 15 minutes, and then after that I was like, no, there's none of that.
What do you think, Lucy? Because you're very driven. Like I'd be going in the cafe and being like, I'm going to take as long as I can in here. What is it that? But I've run with you on these multi-days, and I know like you're the one that's always like, let's get it takeaway, let's move, and I'm like pouring my tea down my face to try and finish it.
You wouldn't, because then you wouldn't get there till like 10 o'clock at night, or you'd miss the pub, or you'd miss the ferry, or
you've invested so much time and energy into getting there in the first place, and to this, like, you are task focused. You have to be if you're going to do like that. And I think that in itself is an underlying driver, isn't it, to get to the next point, because you've already kind of said in your head what you're doing, haven't you?
I think for you, having ideas where you want to be like having it as a day and a night actually really works, because you work to that schedule. And like, I guess when I was working it out, if I'm moving 4 miles an hour, I think this will be very doable. If I'm moving 3 miles an hour, it really will be a nightmare. It won't be doable because I'll be out so long. So I'd kind of factored it, okay, 4 miles an hour moving, an hour stopping over the course of the whole day. That will make it really doable. And probably at the start I was moving a bit quicker, and then at the end a tiny bit slower, but not like massively slower. So I'd actually got much more rest than I anticipated when I was planning it. But I think had I not had that rest, I would have fallen apart sooner. So when you go to the cafe, like, yes, you want to stay there, but that's like short-term pleasure. And
because I guess then you're like, I'm going to have to do 5 miles an hour, and that's more, I could walk the hills still.
Yeah, so you'll pay for that.
Trish, have you planned your day out like that? Have you got like a day target and then you're going to have a little sleep, or are you just going?
I have spoken to Luce about it, how she did hers, and obviously Shane and Bridget, who've done the FKT as well. My plan is to treat it probably quite like the spine, have periods when I sleep. But again, I'm working kind of from Shane's schedule, but the reality is it's just very unknown. So it's good to have a schedule, but I think the reality is you've got to accept that plan A isn't always going to work. The weather is going to be a massive thing on the event. So if I'm looking to go on the 12th of December for the winter kind of time frame, but if there's terrible weather, that will make a huge difference to my ability to maintain 3 miles an hour over that terrain, particularly like if it's super rain, if there's a lot of rain, that whole area, huge areas of it just become bog fests. Yeah, I mean, I've got segments in where I plan to sleep, but it's nowhere near enough. Like, for example,
you can dig a big hole. You can dig a big hole and just get in it
for a max of like 3 hours, on a couple of nights. The rest will be probably a bit shorter. I probably won't sleep at all the first night, but we'll see. I'm not hard and fast on anything.
If the weather's too dangerous for Crib Goch and you have to take the pig track, can you still count it?
Yeah, you just basically specify that it's the route with the peak track instead of crib. I do want to do crib, and hopefully it will be okay on the day, but the guys who've just completed Dragon's Back race this year, they didn't do crib GOC. I don't think
Didn't hear anyone complaining, Trish.
Yeah.
I think like the whole FKT thing, like it's really arbitrary, and I think you don't need to be too caught up in like, because it's not a world record. It's pushing yourself and pushing other people to do better. And someone next year I suspect might well go and do quicker than I've done, and that's great because I've made a jump forwards. Like the spine last year, I made a massive jump forwards. I genuinely think someone is going to get Pat Jasmine's record and like take it better than it's ever been before. But that's kind of the point of it. I don't think it really matters if I don't know. I just don't know. I think if you're continuously cutting corners and then that's different. But I just don't think it, and it's so arbitrary. For you, it's pushing yourself, isn't it, to something?
100%. Like I always think these kind of things are just like our footprints in the sand. The waves come and they're gone. But actually, it's just about that moment, isn't it? It's an adventure for that moment for you. Hopefully, that does inspire other people to go and to break that and to try it and to do something else. When I think about why I'm doing it, I used to be obsessed with wanting to climb Everest when I was a kid. But you don't need to go away and do massive things like that to find challenge. There's plenty of challenges. Southwest Coast Path,
Isle of Wight. I've heard that's amazing. Getting around that.
that's the that's proper mental resilience, that one.
I got a message from someone actually when I finished a few days after, and she said, inspired by you, I've just booked my own 3-day solo point to point on Foot Coast Path or something. That's what is really cool about doing stuff like this. And Sarah's a bit of a trailblazer.
Nails, Sarah. Nails.
She is. She's so nails.
Yeah.
But the one thing I would love Sarah to share her next adventure, because there are so many people that could be inspired by seeing what she does. But she inspired me, and hopefully I'll have inspired some other people to go and try. You don't have to do something crazy, but just to go and being out there on your own as a woman. I think people get scared, but it's actually really awesome.
I feel empowered when I'm doing it, but then also afterwards, because I think
that's what I'll be thinking as I'm grabbing hold of Crib GOC and they're like, shh.
I feel empowered. I'm a real woman.
Well, sometimes you're not telling yourself that. You're like, come on, you're awesome. But it is cool, and you're taking an ownership of all the decision making, good and bad, competes and not competes. And you can phone a friend, but fundamentally everything is down to you, and that's a really different experience. It's not just running, it's everything that goes along with it. I love traveling on my own. I love doing stuff on my own. I love doing it with friends. I mean, you're kind of friends, aren't you? As women, I think, don't be scared to go off and do stuff on your own, and it sometimes takes a couple of days to get used to your own company, but once you've done that, once you've kind of got in the groove.
Well, I think start really small as well, because I have quite a few female athletes that I coach that can't believe what we go and do, and we just pack up and we're like, go and do these mega days and stay somewhere, and they're like, I can never do that. And I'm like, well, you can, like, but you don't need to do, you can do like, and when I'm like, we don't do a lot of running, there's a lot of walking.
There's a lot of
walking. Doesn't have to be like bang bang. Go somewhere comfortable that's not too far from home. Nobody wants a mega drive or an easy train journey away. Just make a little circle and have an Airbnb or a little hotel and do something you're really comfortable with. And it doesn't need to be an FKT. It doesn't need to be recorded. Okay. And then you'll learn your pack. Like, what do I need for it? Because carrying like a day pack, do you know how heavy your pack was?
Yeah, I do. I think it was 3 kilos without food or water. So it's probably about 4.5, when I set off.
Heavy, actually. Yeah.
There is quite a lot of stuff there. So I was a bit disappointed.
You're a bit of a beast, aren't you? I mean, just smashing that out. All that elevation with your massive pack.
No, but there is, when you add in so I had two charge it plug things, which I was so glad I did, because I didn't have to faff around unplugging. I had a charging pack, a spare Garmin, because all of these would have been game over if your Garmin suddenly broke, you'd be game over. Yeah, the first aid stuff, I know I was sending stuff, but you still actually need, I was determined I was going to be safe. I had quite a warm jacket and full waterproofs and a merino base layer and stuff. If I'd been walking all night, then I'd have needed it. And there were times where, like, if I'd been moving the pace I thought I was, I think I was able to move well enough that I was generating heat. But as soon as you start walking continuously, then I'd have needed it all. I kind of thought it was going to be lighter, but it wasn't.
I think that was pretty light, really. Was it the hardest thing you've ever done? I don't want to compare it to the spine, but what was harder, the coast path or the spine?
Yeah, I'm really proud of the coast path. I think it was much better performance just because it's so long and there's so much to hold together. And there were a lot of challenges. The spine, there's a bit of validation because so many other people are doing it. So when you're like, this is crazy, what am I doing? You think, well, actually, they're doing it. I'm just as capable as they are.
I think that's one of the key differences, though, is the mental challenge of the Southwest Coast Path, to do it self-supported, to do it on your own. Like even though when the spine is really hard, there's people around you, there's someone behind you, there's support point in front of you, like there's something there to pull you. But you did the Southwest Coast Path on your own every day. To motivate yourself to get out there and keep pushing every day.
That was probably the hardest thing, actually, was setting that alarm and getting off as soon as it went off. But I was getting sleep, so you're not as sleep deprived as the spine. Like the spine, that sleep deprivation is next level, isn't it? I think the hardest bit wasn't the walking, it was everything else. And like you said, Eddie, like the not faffing and not letting yourself scroll on your phone and just relax on your bed and just have a bit of downtime. That was probably the hardest bit. That and eating, because eating was really hard as well.
Eating is your superpower, definitely.
It wasn't. It was. I had to work at that superpower.
You had to pull that thread, as Gary says.
I had to pull that thread.
Why? You're just not hungry, or?
Oh, I just didn't want anything. And I was like, I could empathise with you guys, and like the whole time how you feel. I just had one burger that I really enjoyed, and other than that, everything was 4 stars.
That's so disappointing, because you'd have thought, every time you got like chips and stuff, you'd be like, this is the best thing I've ever eaten.
Never ice cream. Put fish and chips away like you do. I mean, you should have an FKT in that.
Well, I reckon I've doubled that pace now. I was like, right, just inhale these. Just like, I've got a bed to go to. There was one, and I was so tired, and I was like, I really just want to get to bed. So I went and I was like, what's quick as you can do? Fish it. Okay, quick, right. And then I started.
Did they even batter it? Did they just put it directly in, like gullet down?
Great fish.
Like I sat down to eat it, and then I was like, no, come on, walk up to the hotel, shovel it in. Like literally held up the fish. I ate the fish with my hands.
I've only seen a very small part of this, but I have seen this like just tiny glimpses, and so has Trish, when we've been doing these big long days, and it's Lucy that drives the train of like, let's run, come on, everybody, let's run, let's go. I can imagine it. Just imagine you going into cafes, and then where's you leave, people go, no, she is absolutely, I don't know who that girl is. She's absolutely crazy. So this is a sort of 2-pronged question. I'm sure you'll be doing other big adventures. I expect there's not an idea yet, but there might be, and you'll be already thinking about. I know you're feeling better because you started messaging me and Trish about like the weekends and stuff. It's like, I'm ready, guys.
Trying to get her on mine, but she's
I hate people always asking when people do. I hate on podcasts when they say, "What's next?" Because you're like, no, just savor this. But what would you do differently for a big FKT if you did it again? And in that same vein, what can we tell Trish that you've already learned that she doesn't need to? She can take on to her FKT.
You both got daily updates. What would I do differently? I don't know. I really enjoyed doing it self-supported. I think it would be really different. It was so interesting watching Elsie.
I know the difference between your two things.
So, yeah, and what she did was amazing, but it's just not compared. Like, I saw a picture of her. There were 2 things that struck me. One, she was going up a hill and someone passed her poles, and then the other, and what she did was incredible. She was sitting eating a pot noodle on the ferry, and someone was massaging her legs, and I was like, it's just a completely different...
I could have sat next to you on the ferry and just been a passenger, and then I could have just lightly touched, and you could have said, please don't do that, and I could have just stroked until you got off.
But what I did really enjoy that self-supported bit. So what would I do differently? I don't know that I'd do that much, to be honest. I mean, other than not using Compete. And it was pretty well
Take
planned. And it was, maybe I could have done an extra 5 miles each day, but maybe I couldn't. And actually, I was limited by where the accommodation was anyway.
Were you inspired by yourself? Like you said, you're proud of this. And I love hearing you say that because I know that's a big deal for you because as AI already pointed out, you're an absolute legend, but you never shout about it. You just repost Insta. Were you proud of like your mental toughness and your mental strength out there? Were you like, I knew I was tough. I knew I was hardcore, but I didn't know I was that hardcore.
It's interesting watching my videos back because I was so intimidated by it. I don't know. It wasn't that I didn't believe I could do it, but I was so intimidated by what I was taking on. Yeah, that's why I am proud because it was something that did genuinely feel on the edge of possibility. And obviously it turned out to be possible, but I don't think it was that far off not being possible. Like had that toe got really bad or the injury come a bit earlier or whatever. What was the question? About how my mental toughness?
Were you proud of you? Like how strong mentally you were?
Yeah, but also how I looked after myself. And I think I made good decisions. Like you did save me on that last big day where I just happened to be talking to you. And I just, because I'd been so on it. And that day I was like, I just need to, there was this long, 30-mile horrible runnable stretch. And I just thought, right, I'm just going to chat to people. Literally 5 or 6 hours on the phone. It was amazing. But I just happened to be on the phone to you. I'd missed all my cafes, all the food stops. And you were like, so were you going to get some hot food before this, love? That, that really was like, oh, hold on, this isn't in the bag and you're not making sensible decisions now.
You were like that. And I was like, I would think I was running at the same time. So we were chatting away. And then I was like, I'm going to say, I took the wind down my ears and I was like, you're really mumbling. And I was like, Luce, when did you last have any food? And you're like, I had breakfast this morning. And I was like, you had and I was like, is there a cafe?
Had you not said that, I wouldn't, because luckily I found a Tesco's because that was the last option to stop. I just hadn't realised because I'd been chatting away. So I guess my reflection on that was I actually held my concentration. I was on it with even if I didn't want to. So I'm really proud of actually doing the stuff I didn't want to do, like the eating. And and I don't think there was just one day 8 was awful.
Was that the really windy day?
No, that day was amazing actually. So that day is 48 miles. It was day 10.
Rest day.
It was 48 miles, but it was 6,500 meters of climbing. And it was so windy, like wind that you like on any of the runnable bits. If I tried to run, I'd just get blown 2 meters to the side. Like it couldn't hold I tried to get some videos. My hand was moving around the phone. But I loved that day because it was so wild. But yeah, I think it was day 8. It was the day after Land's End, and my toe was so bad. I just was so tired. And that morning, I had 4 hours. I was like, I can't do this. I'm not going to be able to do it because you're still so far to go. That was the only 4 hours, I think, where I genuinely thought I'm not going to be able to do this. But the rest of the time,
you did it. You did it.
You know this, Trish. Like the tough times come and the tough times go. And I think it's amazing. Yeah. You can have a day like that and I got through it and it was so hard. But then the next day you have a sleep, you have some food, you wake up and it's a new day and it's a new mindset. So you just have to push through these tough parts.
I think that's one of the key draws. Why do we do these kind of big crazy events? I do think that's a massive draw. The fact that you have to dig really, really deep, and a lot of it is about making decisions on your own. And I do think that's quite a primal need for a lot of us to actually be in difficult situations and actually to come through them. That's really important for us as people, isn't it? As human beings, to show that we can do this stuff and we can take risk and we can be successful with it. And it doesn't always work out, but actually that's part of it as well, isn't it? That's part of that story. It doesn't.
And I think it makes life brighter. Normal life brighter. You see everything in a different light. You see people in a different light, your relationships in a different light. The way that when you come back from having done this, your pecs are a little bit perkier.
It's the perspective it gives you as well. It's perspective on, what's important and what, actually the vast majority of stuff we deal with in modern society now, it isn't really important in the grand scheme of things. And going back to these kind of events where really you just have to focus on eating and moving. That's
our two favorite things.
That's just such a simple thing, isn't it? And how what a release is, I think, in terms of just being able to focus on those two things.
I remember chatting with you, Eddie. I can't remember if it was day 3 or day 4, but I think I'd spent the first couple of days, like just overthinking it and intimidated by it and daunted. And I told you about some of the conversations I'd had at work, and it completely shifted my mindset. And they were with some young people, but it was one in particular. It was the last conversation. And I was just reflecting. I think, coming towards the end of life, what people so often crave is just normality and just being able to do the simple things and wake up in the morning and go to work, or have a, make a den with their kid, their baby brothers. And that just, I spent a lot of days ruminating. And I was like, why am I overthinking this? Like, it's just a run. I'm just outside somewhere beautiful. I'm pushing my body. Like, don't think about what's coming. Just be in the moment. And it was so helpful. And it just really put a perspective on the whole thing and changed my whole mentality. I remember Dan Lawson, I listened to him talking about it, and he was like, I just became at one with the trail. And it sounds really woo-woo, but I can completely relate. I stopped fighting. I stopped worrying about it. I was like, I can only do what I can do, but I can make good decisions and I can keep moving forwards, and I can embrace the tough parts and the low parts. And actually, how lucky am I to be doing that?
We look at our capacity to do these kind of things. I think a lot of women do overthink it a lot. And I do think that's generally much more common in women, to not put ourselves forward and to not try and push. But actually, when you look at it we're just small specks in the universe, aren't we? It doesn't matter if you do it or not. And I think it's the ability to do these things comes down to understanding that it can mean everything in the world to you to do that. You wanted to do that Southwest Coast Path, and you wanted to do it in that time frame, and you put everything into doing that. But actually, it's the acceptance of, you can only do what you can do at the end of the day. And you've got to be proud of that and be able to willing to sort of walk away and accept if it doesn't go right on the day. I think actually, if more women did kind of go along those lines, didn't look at it in terms of, racing.
Performance. It has to be performance.
It's got to be a lot more about, actually, I just want to go and have an adventure to see what I can do, to see if I am capable of this, and to push as hard as I can. That's actually comes from a much more almost like an honest,
organic
organic way to approach something. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. That toe could have gone really, really bad. You could have had a stumble, you could have hurt your ankle. Everything can go wrong, but actually it went right. Why shouldn't you try?
I think it's really interesting that I'm so proud of this, because I've done a lot of triathlon at a high level, but I would probably, and maybe it's just, I don't think it's just because it's just happened. I am really, really proud of this for everything it represents about, I guess it sounds very, I don't know, maybe I'm too, but the evolution of me as a person. And it was performance purely for me. And yes, there was an FKT attached to it, but that was irrelevant to, that was Sarah putting a benchmark down. And I was like, okay, so that's a benchmark. What can I do? And I think it's really interesting that I'm as proud of this, if not more proud, than winning professional races or some of the things I did in triathlon, because it's not just, it's about so much more than performance. And the other thing I'd say is, when on the start line, I was kind of on the start line on the way down, I was like, do you know what? It's been such an awesome summer. Having that in the diary just gave the excuse for adventures, didn't it? And we did all that cool stuff. We were on the tarmac coast path of the Isle of Wight, and
You're a bit of a trailblazer for us, Lucy, because you jumped into this sport. We were already in it, and you've just kind of jumped on the bandwagon and now are beating us all. But we're just showing us all up. We were making out it's really tough, and you just joined in. But you're setting the bar for us as well to go
tagged on,
and now you're like, can we be your friend? But I really liked what you said, Trish and Lucy, and I think this is a really important point. I think people panic when they go, even whatever distance they're doing, because we're talking about mega distances, and I know there'll be people listening going, oh, there's three privileged women talking about 50 miles, 5 miles is enough for me.
We're privileged, aren't we? And
yeah, we're totally privileged.
Yeah,
so I think if you look
at the perspective as well, we know that. I know I'm privileged, and that's a reason for me not to quit, because I've chosen to this. I've chosen this suffering.
All of our journeys are really different, and we sort of come together, and now we're sort of our little paths are going side by side, but all our journeys to get here were really, really different. But we didn't it's been a sort of lifelong journey, as it is for everybody. But it's really interesting to hear you say, both of you say, the uncertainty. And I think people sort of maybe look at you, Trish, look at Lucy and go, these, I can't what can I compare myself to these women? We all start these journeys, whatever they are, and it might just be your couch to 5K journey that you're just starting. It might just be going to the gym is like a huge hurdle. You're never going to feel comfortable in the start. There's always going to be a lot of noise. There's always going to be a lot of doubt. Like in those 100 milers, the first 20 miles or 50 miler, first 10 miles, they're nearly always the hardest because your brain is so loud. You've still got all the noise. You might have said like goodbye to your nearest and dearest on the start line, and pulling all those threads away of the outside noise, of everything else you've got to do, that stress. It really takes time. But like Lucy said, you kind of just have to let it go and know that you will settle into it, just like the niggles. I think a lot of people, like we see it in the spine, don't we? They get to hawes and they go, I can't do this, because they haven't cut those threads. So I think it's really important, if you're thinking, I can't do that, put yourself out there and just allow those threads to stretch, put yourself in a little bit of uncomfortable, and know that you'll settle into whatever you're doing, the gym, a trail, a 5K, a 10-mile day. You might be, for the first time, going to do like back-to-back long runs, but not thinking that the brain is in charge of you, letting it talk. It can talk away all it wants, but knowing that almost the longer you go, the more time you're in it.
100%. Don't think, do.
So don't quit after 10 miles on the Dragon's Back, Trish.
But also,
It's going to be so awkward, isn't it? You put this out and I like, Island day one.
listen to it whilst you're running.
Yeah.
I did actually. I told Eddie this. I did listen. It was I think it was a really tough day when I was in a real hole. I found Sarah's podcast on TN Trails. I couldn't remember, but I wanted the reassurance that she was fine. That she found it as hard as I did, because I was like, that's the only reference point.
Did she say it was hard? Because I'm sure she was just like, it got a bit tough.
She was
talking about how she was going all night and she didn't sleep. And I was like, she did it so much harder than me. Come on, man up.
She was so funny, and the woman that like wouldn't let her in without hosing her down before she went into her Airbnb. You obviously didn't choose that one.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, she had some.
I'm not letting Sarah in. She's just a loveliest person. I'd feel really bad about it.
I'd let her in. I'd let her in my bed. I'd be like, come on, smooch up.
Do you know one thing that she said that really struck me? Because we know we love Sarah, but she said, sorry's like the word that I say most. I say it every other sentence. And it got to the stage where I just couldn't say sorry. I was like, I think I'm still saying sorry. I think maybe I'm okay. But you get like primal. But yeah, but I would just kind of nerves and stuff. Everyone feels nerves. And I realised that in triathlon, even the best in the world, like everyone gets nervous when you're doing something either you care about or something that's going to be hard. And I realised in lockdown, like I've stopped triathlon, I was trying to work out, what I wanted to do exercise-wise and things. And I realised that I just needed adventure in my life. And like the way I define adventure is you hear about it and you're like, oh my God, that sounds amazing. But then the night before you're like, why on earth have I signed up to this? What am I doing? And then you do it, and it's only an adventure if it has the tough parts and you come out the other side. That's kind of my definition of adventure.
Oh, Lucy and Trish has been such a joy. I feel a breakaway podcast.
Yeah.
Coming here. We could do something.
I'll send this picture to Gary.
Trish is holding a mug up saying it did to us. No, we miss Gary because he keeps us more on track.
He is,
more on track. We've done this is a meandering podcast where I haven't asked. I had like 20 questions for Lucy. I think I've asked 3.
He's also the only person who knows how to put the podcast together. I can't. We need you, Gary.
We love you, Gary. We need you. But I have done the quick 5, so there is a semblance of order. Okay. Oh, poor Gary. You can both answer this, Trish and Luce. What's your go-to running song when you need a boost?
Sweet Caroline.
I'm going to go with what's that coming over the hill?
I told you that's what the boys.
Myself sometimes.
That's the boys. That's what the boys used to sing to me in my bike group as they were waiting for me at the top of hills.
Love it. I love it. I just insert name and that's it. Shout at everyone.
Oh God, we're going to shout at you.
Random people I don't even know.
This is for you, Lucy. Groundhog Day. Do you remember that film? Old school Groundhog Day. You wake up every day. You've got to run UTMB. So let's put win. You can win UTMB every day, or you can win Kona every day. Which one would you do?
Kona.
What is that?
because a triathlon was about getting the best out of myself, whereas this is more about fun. So actually, the Kona win, like I'm trying really hard to. And I know this is loser words, but running is not about performance. It's about like adventure. And yes,
You can tell yourself as much as you like. We know that.
Moving on.
but Kona, I live my life around performance and trying to do everything I could to make myself as quick as possible. So Kona win would have meant more, but I would never have won in Kona because I hated that race.
You've talked about movement as medicine. How has running helped you mentally, not just physically?
Well, I guess in COVID, I kind of mentioned, like I realised I'd retired from triathlon, but that was when I discovered I'd always want to exercise, but not just exercise, like adventure. I would say over the last like couple of years, like my whole journey into ultra running is well documented was with an ex, but actually running's now given me the community and the average.
Do you think you could do your job if you didn't run?
I need exercise. I don't need it actually running, but that was what it really struck me in COVID times. Like I needed that exercise to process what I do.
That headspace.
It's like headspace. It's processing times. It's like my time. Like absolutely have to have that.
Trish, ever had a total race day disaster that's taught you something important?
Oh, 100%. What the worst one was the spine, where I didn't realize at the time, but I fell like 8 miles in, and I didn't know at the time, but I actually put a hairline fracture on my patella. And that's the hardest thing I've ever done.
Could you run at all then after that? Were you running on it?
I could shuffle on it, but it was exceptionally painful. It was the most painful thing I've ever experienced in my life. And I've actually blocked out huge parts of the spine. I don't remember any of the course. I just remember various bits, like with Simon Roberts, like
giving you cocodamol, going, take one of these, see you in 28 miles.
Really don't remember anything apart from absolute pain and like horrific wind and rain. Yeah, I mean, that taught me all you can do is what you can do. And as long as you are, pain is interesting because pain, I think you can go on through most pain. On Dragon's Back, I had incredibly bad nausea. And the difference, I think, between nausea and, nausea and cramping and pain is with nausea and cramping, there's not really much you can do about that. Like it's just miserable. You just want to lie in a ditch and die. But with pain, I think you can continue.
I think you can, the pain receptors, you can overcome a bit more.
Yeah.
If it's in your gut, it's very hard. I think that sort of filters.
But both those experiences have taught me that I can push on regardless of how terrible I am.
We'll remind you. I can push on.
Remind you that.
Yeah.
Question for both of you. Would you rather climb Everest in Crocs or run the 100-meter Olympic final in high heels?
Everest, 100% Croc. 100%. I mean, Lucy, you're taking too long, mate, to answer this.
No, because I don't really want to die. So I think there's quite a high chance of dying.
Trish hadn't thought of that actually her feet wouldn't have made it. She's already halfway up. We won't tell her. She's already got the
I'd
cross.
rather do the 100 meters in high heels and do Everest properly.
Can you imagine the gifts we'd get if Lucy got in the 100 meters in high heels? That would be hilarious.
Do you know what? When I did triathlon, I could not swim. I could swim, but I was such a bad swimmer. After Kona one year, the guys that I swim with were all doing the Masters champs, and they're like, "Goss, you've got to enter a race." It's like, okay, I'll do one. I'll do the 100-meter butterfly, because I was like, if I'm going to be bad, I'll be just absolutely diabolical. And there's a photo of me next to some older ladies, like probably quite a lot older, like 65, and they dived in. I'm still on the blocks going, oh, has the gun just gone off?
I'd love to see that. I'd
love to see that.
Goss in her.
You get that for us on video because
I bet we could find it.
Well, there's definitely a picture. Anyway.
Who wants to choose the Insta music to go out with her? It's inspiring.
Well, why don't we have the Isle of Wight music? We picked one together, didn't we, for the Isle of Wight?
You and me go well together. Is that it?
I think so, yeah.
Is it? Don't not be singing it.
Okay, let me write it down for Gary. I'll just put you and me, and he'll come back to me going, what is that Insta music? Thank you so much, Lucy and Trish, for coming in and talking. We sort of we skirted around. I don't think we gave enough kudos to Lucy for her incredible FKT on the Southwest Coast Path. But I've heard you on Feet First podcast, and you tell a great story. So if you think, I don't think they delved enough into Lucy's, I want more deets, you can pop over there and listen to that. But I really wanted to get both these inspiring ladies on and getting to help perhaps other people think, I could do that. I want a little slice of that cake, because that's what Sarah gave to Lucy. That's what Lucy's given to me. That's what Trish gives us daily, because she tells us to be better. Be better, girls. You can do better. And so if you were listening to this thinking, I want to go and run that trail. I want to run that path. I want to put a circle around my house and run all the hills that I can see. Don't put it off. Go do it. It might not work out the first time, but that doesn't matter. Failure should not be something that stops you. It should be something that drives you. So hopefully, even if just one or two people have listened to this and thought, I'm going to have a go, I'm going to do that thing that I've been putting off, it might just be that they sign up to, or you might have just listened to us laughing and thought, I must get in touch with those friends that I love running with and stop putting that off, because we often have to put dates in the diary like 6 months ahead, but running with friends and keeping that friendship going, even though we don't see each other very much, is priceless. And so thanks to Lucy and Trish for being my friends in that, but also sharing so much wisdom on the podcast. And just massive kudos, Lucy, for what you did and what you are in the trail running community. You're a legend and we love you, but just maybe the rest of the year off now.
Apart from the run in the Pentlands.
Oh, huge. I'm planning 60 miles. Because now you can just do 50 miles in a day. We'll just strike out 60. Anyway, we love you lots and we'll speak to you soon.
Bye. Poor Gary, what a meander. Gary's going to listen to that and go, what was that?
He always manages though, and he cuts so much of my stuff out. I'm like, you cut out everything I said, Gary. He's like, because you talked for an hour and 10 minutes.
Oh, funny, poor Gary.